They're yours. Hit that one more time. I am the number one determinant of the success or failure. Here we go. Of my student. Hey, y'all, you have a strong summer. Kick some butt next year. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. That's the mindset. That's the attitude. Love you guys.
And we are live. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see who we got in here today. We got John Few, my man Demetrius Scott, Sheikah Houston, Dr. Sheikah Houston, Janine Wilkins, Nyerka Coy Bush, my man Michael Moore. We got to connect at some point, Mike. You know, I'll make that happen when I'm I keep going to North Carolina, but it's never in your section. But we'll make it happen. Nikki Harris Sloan, Principal Dot. Where we at here, man? Y'all made a big jump on me. Principal Dot McKeever Jeter, Michael Benton, my man, Principal. You know, Michael Benton's been with us since week 1. And he's been, I think he started off as Teacher Benton. And then he became Assistant Principal Benton. And now he is Principal Benton. He was just appointed this week. So congratulate Michael Benton. He's been rocking since week 1, man. 113 weeks. Congratulations, sir. My man, Principal Carlos Baggage in the building. I really wanted to see this young man when I was in Birmingham the other day. Cammy Berry, Suzanne, Adam, Ella, I'm trying not to mess up your name. Ella Zaris Adam is in the building. John Hirricks, Reggie Austin, Lewis Saunders, my man, Principal Sean Hurt, my man, we all in the building. Rashad Davis bringing it from Vegas in the building. Raquel Squall is in the building. Julie Wilkin and Gray, Lysandra Brackens, my man, Reggie Miller in the building. Jackie Solomon, James Wilburn, Renee Williams, Jasmine Harris. Hit the share button for me as you come in. Let them know we here, man. We here. Crystal Nolan Brandon, Tara Blackshire Scott is in the building. The Queen, my wife, is in the building. Kimberly Broughton Kafele, she's here. Let me see. This thing just jumped like big, y'all. Let me see where we are here. A lot of y'all just jumped in here. Sonia Jackson is in the building. Charlena Hottie is in the building. Tony Imani Fisher's in the building. Rodney Richardson is here. Wyatt Jones is in the building. Hey, Wyatt, make sure you make that connect I told you about, man. That's big time. That's big time, right? Let's see. Danielle Capehart is in the building. Saw her in Birmingham too. Kimberly Carruthers is in the building. Tammy Goodson, Yolanda Nesbitt, Melissa Jones Chunu in the building. Hey, Melissa, you know, Melissa, I haven't said this in writing, but I'll say it here. I love sitting back, getting my popcorn and watching you debate with some of them folks, right, from that post. I say, look at her. She handling it. But, but I get my popcorn. I say, let me see where she going to go with this now. That's social media, man. People get aggressive when they get behind them keys sometimes, right? Donna Jackson's in the building. Principal Tammy Taylor, soon to be Dr. Tammy Taylor, is in the building. Tiffany Curry's in the building. Edwin Garcia, all the way from Passaic, New Jersey, in the building. Felicia Hutchins Marshall's in the building. Janet Ray Shoney, I think I got that right, is in the building. Dot McKeever Jeter, yeah, I said that when. Willie Lanier's in the building. Grace Castaneda No, Grace Castaneda is in the building. I see a lot of congrats here for Principal Benton. Yeah, hit him up. Hit him up. Congrats to Principal Benton. He's in the building here, man. Principal Benton, man, I met him on social media. I'm assuming it was teacher, but yeah, he was kindergarten teacher. That's what it was. So it's funny, man, how life takes you, and you meet people in this journey called life, and people, reaching their goals and so forth. Man, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Let me get started, y'all. I got a lot here. I got a lot on the plate here. So I'm glad you're here. Hit the share button, hit the retweet button. Let them know we're here, man. This is the place to be at 10:55 on Saturday mornings, right? So with that being said, I'm going to tone it down a little bit for y'all this morning, and I'll tell you why in a little while. So good morning. Greetings and welcome to week 113 of the virtual AP Leadership Academy. And I always say, I'm not doing that today. I'm just letting you know I'm on fire, right? I'm blazing. I really am. But I don't want to go through that. I don't want to just go through that ritual today. Let me tell you why. First and foremost, before I tell you why, let me just cover a couple of things. I want to shout out the National Charter School Conference. Anybody that was at the conference, man, did I have a blast there. Did the keynote last I think it was Tuesday, the 21st, whatever that day was. And just shout out to anybody, Angie Christoph, who's the conference coordinator, and anybody that may be on right now that was at the conference, man. I had a great time, man. Some of you that may know my work, when I do a keynote, a big one, I come out to Frankie Beverly's song, We Are One. And, I dance, man. I do my little two-step. I wanted to play it today, but I'm scared Facebook might flag it and cut me off. So I said, let me just not do it because it's got, copyrighted music. But I want to shout them out. And also the Osceola County School District in Florida. Spoke to all the administrators and the aspiring administrators, and it was powerful. Just good to be with them on Wednesday. And then today is June 25th. I'm one of those unapologetic, man, because some people are apologetic with it, and I understand it, but I'm an unapologetic MJ Michael Jackson fan. I'm unapologetic with it. Today is the 13th anniversary of his passing, so I always recognize it. I post on the page, on my Facebook page. I play his music, particularly my favorite song, Liberian Girl. And so that's where it's at. So I just wanted to give you those preliminaries, but let me get to what I wanted to talk about. We had a lot of people on the Facebook page this week, so a lot of people are already aware of this, but my brother-in-law, my wife Kimberly's brother, she had 3 brothers, so this was the youngest brother. He passed unexpectedly, suddenly on Wednesday of this week. And it's like people pass, they make their transitions, and oftentimes we're prepared for it. The individual was ill, the individual was sick, the individual was of age, whatever it is. But here we're talking about a young man that just turned 60. I said to him on his 60th birthday, it was like 2-3 weeks ago, I said, man, you're welcome to the club, because when you're 60, it's a different, it's just a different plateau. It's like you got the floor, so to speak. I'm a speaker, but outside of that speaker world, when you're 60, it's like you've arrived. You have the floor. You command the floor, and you speak and say whatever you got to say, and folks got to sit there and listen to you until you're done. That's kind of how I've always looked at 60, that you've arrived. You're in eldership now. You're in that category. You're not quite at Social Security, right? But you're at the age of 60. So I was telling him, I said, you there, man. This is yours. The world is yours when you're 60. And we get the call. I got the call. I was in Florida, that he made his transition. And it's shocking. I asked everybody, and I'm gonna ask you all live, pray for my wife. She's on right now. Pray for my wife. That's her brother. She lost all 3 of her brothers. All 3. It's just her now, right? So she lost all 3 of her brothers, my brother-in-laws. And he was the youngest, closest in age to her, separated by 2 years and year and a half. So pray for her, but also pray for her father, Deacon Samuel Broughton. And you know, someone that would come on here this morning and not know that I just said what I said, they would probably wonder why I'm wearing what I'm wearing. Right? What's he got on New York Yankee stuff for? This is my brother-in-law's hat. This thing is old, y'all. Right? It's, you know, some people, you find your favorite hat and you never change it. Right? Some people got multiple hats that they wear, but others, it's like that's all they're gonna wear. It could be beat up, it could have stains in it, it could be all wrinkled up and weather beaten and all that, but the person will still wear it instead of just going on and buying a new hat. Well, this is Dave's hat, and you can't tell on the camera, but this hat is beat up, right? Because he's been wearing it just for so long. This is his hat. He's one of them guys that's just faithful to a team, no matter how long, how many decades it loses. Like he's a New York Knicks fan. They haven't won a championship since 1973. I jumped ship and went on to the Nets and then the Lakers and all that, and came back. They still losers, but he didn't. He's been hanging with them ever since. He's a New York Giants fan. He's just a New York guy, right? So no matter how well they do, win or losses, he's a New York guy. It doesn't matter. They could go 0-17 for the season, and he's still going to love his Giants. But Yankees, man, you don't see this guy without this hat on. He probably mad at me now for wearing it. This is his hat, right? But I told my son, I said, go up there and get this hat for me, man. I'm going to keep it on my shelf too. And this is his hat, you know. So I said, let me rock this hat today. Because I know I'm going long before I get to my topic, but I want y'all to hear this. I said this before. I may have said it last week, but I'm going to repeat this. I want you to really feel what I'm getting ready to say to you. I have keynoted on some of the biggest stages in America. I have spoken in 48 out of 50 states. I've been in, I think, about 10 different countries. But going back to the US, I've been everywhere. I've been on the biggest stages, man, right? But you know something? And some of you heard me say this before. Big stages, thousands of people, standing ovation, being treated like a rock star by the client. Folks want your autograph. Folks want to take a selfie with you or pose picture, whatever it is, right? Folks just want to talk to you. But you know something? I want you to hear me. Hear me well on this. None of that equates to this Saturday Academy. Y'all ain't hear me though. None of that. None of them big stages. None of that prestige, the limo. You know, they pick you up in a limo in some of them big events. So you got the big limo, the black car, your name on an iPad by some driver. Vegas, you go to Vegas and there's the driver with your name, Baruti Kafele. You go into the Palazzo, right? Look, y'all, none of that compares to this on Saturday morning. This is my pinnacle. Somebody might be, and I don't get paid for this. I get paid good money to do that work. I don't get paid for this. Someone might be thinking, man, I don't understand. This matters, y'all. So I said the best way to pay tribute to my brother-in-law this morning would be to rock his hat, man, on the platform that I love most. To just rock his hat on the platform that means the most to me. It's nothing that equates to this, y'all. This is it. I might even add to say to somebody, find that thing you love and just stay committed to it. Let me be honest with you now. I mean, I've been honest, but let me be brutally honest. I told my wife I wasn't doing this today. I told my mother I wasn't doing it. I said, I'm going to shut this down probably for 2 weeks as tribute to my brother-in-law, Dave Broughton. I didn't say his name, David Broughton, David L. Broughton. But you know, my son, my 29-year-old son, Jabari, he came up to me. I said, yeah, man, I'm shutting it down this week. He's like, why? I said, I think it's just the right thing to do. He's like, nah, man, don't. He ain't say man, but he's equivalent, right? He said, nah, Dad. He said, don't shut it down. He said, you got to keep it going. And I thought about it. I said, man, he right. I got to keep this thing going, man. So I'm paying tribute to David L. Broughton this morning, my brother-in-law, by rocking his hat. This is my son's jersey. It's tight too, but it's a Yankee jersey, New York Yankees, and rocking that Yankee jersey. I'm doing it right, y'all. Doing it right. Look here, y'all. Stay with me, man. I got a lot on here today. You know, this is one of them days where I got to get all of this on the video. So if you got to run, I understand. But I'm gonna be if I got one name, one number on here, I'm gonna still be on because I want everything on this video today. I don't want to do a part 1 and part 2 of this one. So let's go. Real quick, welcome to the first timers. Right? Every week is first timers on here, right? Every week. So welcome to the first timers. Don't let this be your last time. It's this the place to be at 10:55. At 10 o'clock, the place to be is Sean Hurt. There ain't no place on the planet. And hear me. I mean, I know it's people out there who I'm friendly with. Maybe I have relatives. I don't know. But I'm going to say it anyway. There's no other place to be on the planet Earth. If you are a school leader or an aspiring school leader, than to be on Facebook Live at 10 o'clock with the great Principal Sean Hurt. There is no place else to be. That's it. I mean, he's got my full endorsement. I watch Sean every Saturday at 10 o'clock religiously, faithfully. 10 o'clock, Sean Hurt, Facebook Live. There's nowhere else to be if you're a leader. He gonna take care of you. Then at 10:30, there is no place to be. Hear me, somebody. Then to be on Facebook Live at Create and Educate with Dr. Sheikah Houston and soon to be Dr. Tammy Taylor. There's no other place to be. I'm just gonna put my name on that. 10:30, them. Dr. Sheikah Houston, Dr. Tammy Taylor. There's if you're a leader or aspiring leader, and that's not to minimize other people out there, but I'm just telling you that's the place to be. At 10:55, yeah, I'm gonna toot my own horn. If I don't, who's gonna do it for me? The only place to be at 10:55 on Saturday morning is right here. I said it. That's not called ego tripping, though. It's called self-efficacy, right? Not ego tripping, not being cocky. It's just called self-efficacy, right? It's called confidence. It's called belief. That's all it is. How you gonna soar to the highest levels, man, and you don't believe in you? How you gonna soar to the highest levels and you don't have confidence in you? How you gonna soar to the highest levels and don't have the audacity to believe in what you bring, in what you add? You got to, man. So am I saying myself and the other two are better? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we bringing something. We bringing smoke, man. So be with us every Saturday. Now I gotta tell you, I just see Stacy, Principal Stacy Mabry. You hired that doctorate real good, because I did not know you had that doctorate till I read your bio last week. You hit that bad boy real good, man. Talk about being modest. I've been calling her Principal Stacy Mabry for 10 years or whatever number of years I've known her. And then I read her bio because she was supposed to be the guest today. So after what happened, what I told you, my son, and I wasn't going to do this, I didn't prepare for her. So we're gonna have her on at a later date. But Principal Stacy Mabry, who now I know is Dr. Stacy Mabry, was supposed to be my guest this morning, right? So we're gonna get her on here. You hit that thing real good, Doc, because I've read. I'm like, doctor, man, I ain't never called a doctor. right? So good stuff. Now you got to tell me when you got it. Right? So then one more. Then on Sunday night at 7, you know my man MPA Jaguar, Josh Tovar. Him and Dean Packard come on with a guest on Sunday night at 7. We call ourselves the Fearless Foursome. And then I added and Kathy, you know, I see you there. That's my aunt Kathy Matthews baggage. I'm rocking Dave's hat today. So in case you know, I just want you to know that because you fam, and I don't know if you've been on the whole time, right? So but going back, so Josh and Dean, that's the place to be. Sunday night, 7 o'clock, right? And then I added one more. Dr. Roz Gaskins and Coach Williams. I always mention them. That's the place to be Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's hard for me to be there because I'm always flying that time. You know, I'm always or sitting in an airport doing a delay mad, you know, so mad at the world. So, but those are my crew, right? So I just want to reiterate that. So for the first timers, I don't usually go this long on announcements, right? Today is a special day because I'm celebrating David L. Broughton. I am celebrating, hear me, I'm celebrating my brother-in-law. I'm celebrating David Broughton. I'm wearing his hat, right? He'd probably be mad at me knowing I got it on, right? We took it out his car, the back seat, and this is mine. I've claimed it. I've taken ownership of this hat. And then my son gave me the Yankee jersey to put on today. So we rocking Yankees because he was a diehard Yankee fan. So I am celebrating the life of my brother-in-law, David L. Broughton, right? So let me keep going. Hey, y'all, I got to tell you, July 12 and 13 is coming. I'm doing I'm taking the virtual AP Leadership Academy on the road. It'll be in Charlotte, North Carolina, live and in person, July 12 and 13, all day, both days. You got to be there, man. All day, both days, right? So go to my website, principalkafele.com. It's under the banner or the title, School Leadership Institute with Principal Kafele. That's the formal name because we do this every year. Go there, click the link, register, and then join me in Charlotte, July 12 and 13. The event I told you about on the 16th, the Deaf Ed Conference, that's been postponed. So just join me in Charlotte to July 12 and 13. Register today so that we can know our numbers. And then, you know, I'll see you down there, man. We talking like about 20 hours. Right? Somebody might say that's too much. Okay, 16 hours. I don't know, man. However the spirit moved me. I had a client the other day. They said speak for 4 hours in the morning and 4 in the afternoon, and I was like fighting it within myself. But then when I got on the stage, I needed more than 4, and I said, "Can you give me like more time?" Right? So once you in it, man, you don't know where it's going to go because you just want to pour out, you know. So join me, and then if those of you want to check myself and my peers out live, virtually, the virtual Black Educators Rock Conference, July 9 through 11. That's going to be virtual. You can, I forgot to put it on my page. I got so much going on right now, but go to Sean Hurt's page, go to Chika Akua's page, go to Black Educators Rock page. It's there. I'll have it on my page today, right? But the virtual Black Educators Rock Conference, July 9, 10, and 11, you don't have to travel for that one. Just watch us, right? So I'll have the information on my page. Congrats to all the first timers. No, not the first timers. Congrats to all the folks who landed a position. So my man, Michael Benton, and anybody else on here that just got hired, let us know. I know one of us. No, I guess I think I got everybody else has been on, but put it on the thread. Dakisha, what's her last name? Williams. She's one that just got hired, I think. Yeah, to an AP position. So if anybody else, just put it on the thread so we can congratulate you. Real quick, I gotta always let you know my newest books. I got 3 of my newest ones: the Equity and Social Justice Education 50, the Assistant Principal 50, and the Aspiring Principal 50. You know, I got many more down on the shelf, but you know, I ain't gonna bore you with all that. Just put my name in the Amazon search, and you will see every book I've written. Right, every book I've written for ASCD. And then lastly, I think that's it. I'm ready. Let's go, y'all. Let's talk business. My topic today is altering the trajectory of a child. Now, my voice is jacked up. I was sick as a dog all week with this sinus infection and allergies, and I had to drug up for that Washington, D.C., that charter school conference. I took everything I could take that wasn't going to make me collapse on that stage or lose my voice, because that keynote was important. But we got through it. But I'm feeling much better. I'm feeling stronger, but my voice sound, I can hear the nasal in my ear. So let's go. Again, my topic, altering the trajectory of a child, right? Altering the trajectory of a child is my topic. You might want to get somebody, man, and have them be a part of this. This is going to be highly relevant for a classroom teacher, I might add. So if you know a teacher, hit them up, hit them Facebook groups up in terms of sharing the video. But let's get into some things. To start off, probably every week since I've been doing the virtual AP Leadership Academy, somewhere within the presentation, I have mentioned instructional leadership. Because in my mind, the most important thing you can do, like I tell my audiences all the time, I don't put school safety as one of my non-negotiables. School safety is in my category of given. So in other words, I don't have to talk about, okay, what are my non-negotiables in education? Instructional leadership, student engagement, this, that. No, but see, student safety, student and staff safety, I don't put that in a category. I have that as a standalone called given, meaning it's just a given that students have to be safe. Staff have to be safe in that building. That's just a given, right? So in terms of going beyond the given, when I talk about my own personal non-negotiables, my numero uno, my number one non-negotiable as a principal, as an assistant principal, as a school leader is instructional leadership, period. Nothing comes above that. On the superintendent interviews that I've walked away from because I knew I didn't want the job, just went, I guess, just to flatter myself. But when I sat in those interviews, because I've been on several, I always said instructional leadership is my number one priority. So therefore, if you were to hire me as your superintendent, I cannot be instructional leader and I cannot supervise instructional leadership of administrators if I am trapped at central office. How do I ensure that the principals and assistant principals are instructional leaders at the highest level if I'm not there to monitor it, if I'm not there to supervise it? I have to be present. I have to see it so that when I see flaws, such as reasons that leadership cannot get into classrooms, reasons that leadership cannot engage in pre-observation conferences, reasons that leadership cannot engage in post-observation conference. If I'm not in the building, I cannot monitor that. I cannot oversee that. So therefore, I don't know definitively. I do not know intelligently what is happening in the buildings as it relates to instructional leadership. Because the most important role of a principal, of an assistant principal, is instructional leadership, if we're going to assume that the reason that young people come to school in the first place is to learn. Now, if they're there for other reasons, then fine. But as far as I'm concerned, in the last time I checked, as they say in a cliche, the purpose, the primary reason that a student is in a building is to learn. So therefore, as leader, I have to position myself to ensure that learning is not only occurring, but learning is happening at a very high level. So if I'm leader and I'm prevented from functioning as an instructional leader, then who's monitoring, who's supervising? Here's a word I don't like because of his historical implication, but I'm going to use it anyway. Who's overseeing what happens in a classroom? So I'm going to say it again because I know superintendents watch. So if I'm superintendent, my number one priority are the principals and assistant principals. You may have, I paused it because I wanted to see what you may have been thinking, predicting I was going to say. No, the children are not my number one priority in terms of my actions. But someone may have been thinking that he's probably going to say the children. No, of course they're the number one priority because they're the ones being educated. But in terms of my work, in terms of my actions, if I was superintendent, my number one priority is the level of proficiency of the leadership of the building. And I ain't looking for no building managers. I'm looking for building leaders. I'm looking for instructional leaders. So I say that all the time on this broadcast in some shape, form, or fashion, that instructional leadership is a priority. So, another thing I say all the time, I say, I got to stop using the one little mirror and bringing that mirror, using that mirror on Saturdays, and then bringing that mirror on the road, because eventually I'm going to lose it. Eventually I'm going to leave it on a podium. And guess what? I left that mirror in DC. So I got to use my big mirror. This is the one I shave with, man. You see you seeing too much, man. So I got to use my big mirror today and buy me a little one later on today. So I'm saying to you, hold your mirror up. In fact, I got mine up for you. Hold your mirror up, right? And ask yourself, who am I as instructional leader? Who am I? What am I? Do I bring value in that capacity? Or do I have work to do over the summer? I did a whole video on your leadership blueprint. Go back and watch that one, which broke down the situation analysis, the goals, and the strategy. Go back and watch that one. It wasn't too long ago, but I may do it over before the summer is out, just to do it again live, right? Because you got to have that plan. You got to have that blueprint. So that instructional leadership is critical. But here I got a question for you. What is it when you're having that pre-observation conference? I'm talking to somebody out there right now. When you're having that pre-observation conference, right? My question to you is, what exactly is being said, right? What's being said in the pre-observation conference? Now, I know there's a plethora of things that one could talk about, right? You could talk about anything, right? But I'm asking you, what are those things that are most important, that must be said repetitively, ongoing in your pre-observation conferences with staff? What are those things, right? So you're sitting here watching the video, and watching the live now. As you think about what it is that needs to be said, I want you to think about the teachers that you supervise, APs, principals, or if you're not in that position yet, just imagine yourself like Barney. Just imagine. Remember Barney? So just imagine yourself in that place, right? And think about your supervising teachers, and where would you be, right? What would you say? Now, of course, a lot of it's going to be contingent upon what you see in the classroom. But outside of that, what are things in your mind that you say, yeah, these are things I need to be discussing? These are critical. These are generic things that are critical to the teacher becoming highly effective in the classroom. What might some of those things be, right? For me, as I thought about that, as I was preparing my notes, because I didn't, like I said, I wasn't going to come on. So I did the whole session yesterday, right? And I said, the bottom line in terms of those discussions must be the individual success of each of the learners. Let me say that again. With all that could be said in a pre-observation conference, the bottom line is the individual. Note, and I'm putting emphasis on the word individual. The individual success of each. I didn't say all. All is a different category. I've purged the word all from my vocabulary as it relates to youngsters in the classroom, because a youngster can get lost in the all conversation. So the individual success of each of the learners. In other words, the student individuality, which we're gonna break down today. I'm telling y'all, hang out with me, y'all. I got some stuff to talk about today. You might want to hit that share button, hit that retweet button on Twitter. Let them know Kafele is on fire. He didn't say it today, but he is blazing, right? In fact, I'm getting ready to turn my air. I'm getting ready to ratchet that air up a little bit because I'm getting hot with this hat on, right? So that word each is critical, right? So what I want to do today, as I'm getting ready to transition, I want to zero in on 8 unavoidable categories of continuous discussion with the teachers that you supervise for your consideration, right? Again, I want to zero in. I could say I want to talk about 20 things, right? But I don't want to bombard. I just want to give you these 8. And I see, I don't usually shout out right now, but I'm gonna shout out Danielle West, Principal Danielle West out here in Jersey and Plainfield, getting it done at a high level. I just wish we could have connected and done a fist bump while I was out in DC, but she knows what I'm talking about, right? But good to see you, Principal West. So I want to zero in on these 8 what I'm calling unavoidable categories of continuous discussion with your teachers for your consideration as instructional leader. So in other words, what I'm getting ready to do, like what I'm going to do now, I want to talk to you about things to consider that your teacher needs to hear from you, that your staff need to hear from you. I see one of my formers, Jigga Carter's in the building. I see you. Good to see you. So, and I'm putting these under the category of the topic today, altering the trajectory of a child. So I got 8 different ways to say that. So number 1, here we go. Toward altering the trajectory of a child. The discussion of the mirror with your teachers matter. Let me say that again. Toward altering the trajectory of a child. So let's say youngsters on this trajectory, right? Or on this trajectory, right? Or even this trajectory. This is okay, but it's not this. It's not this. It's not this, right? So my whole goal and intent today is to talk about strategy relative to that pre-observation conference on how we go about altering the trajectory of a child to the point where we would want that youngster to be. So toward altering the trajectory of a child, the discussion of the mirror with your teachers, it matters. It absolutely matters. So, I mean, when I say the mirror, I mean this. And when I use the term mirror, the word mirror, I'm referring to the term game film. So let's break this down. There's a lot of things to talk about in a pre-observation conference, but one of the things you need to be talking about ongoing with your teachers is self-reflection. Self-reflection. I just finished watching as so many of you, the NBA Finals. And I can guarantee you, without having spoken to anybody, that there was probably more between games. There was probably more time spent watching the film of the previous game than it was practicing for the next game. That film study is so important. It's critical. It's crucial. That film study, it's unavoidable because what happens is we're breaking down the film to see what worked, what didn't work, why it worked, why didn't it work, etc. So here I'm saying, when you're talking to teacher about whatever in the classroom, teaching strategies, whatever, equity, whatever it is, you can't avoid the conversation about, teacher, talk to me about your self-reflective process. Because imagine you have a teacher on your staff that has no self-reflective process. How do you grow if reflection is not a part of the process? I know I could not have grown. I could not be where I am today, wherever that is, as a teacher, as a principal, as a speaker, as a consultant, as a man, as a husband, as a father, without the intense self-reflection. I got to rewind and go back and watch. Well, I'm saying the same thing as it relates to your staff. But you have to spearhead that. And that's not always staff meeting material. It has relevance in the staff meeting, but you're not connecting with individuals in staff meetings. That's not happening. You're connecting with individuals in pre-observation conferences, in one-on-one meetings. So in that one-on-one, in that pre-observation, here you are engaging teacher in maybe an intense discussion about the frequency, the relevance of, does it happen at all? Self-reflection of what happens in a classroom. Every engagement that I have, I go into this deep self-reflection mode when I get back on the plane. I had one because I really questioned myself on something that I said. It came from my soul, it came from my heart, but I questioned myself on using it with this particular audience one day. And I said, were they ready for that? I didn't know. And I had to go deep into my soul, deep into my spirit. Like, were they ready? Because it mattered to me, even though the presentation was done, the check had been paid, but that reflection still mattered. And going through that reflection was going to allow me to grow. So that self-reflection as a part of your discussion with a teacher in a pre-observation conference. So imagine you're one and you don't even engage in pre-observation conferences, or you only see a teacher teach during evaluation season. Well, then you have deprived the teacher, you have deprived yourself, and you have deprived the students of the benefit of the discussion that you could have had relative to self-reflection, right? As my man, the good Dr. Woodley said, if reflection is not part of the process, you don't grow. So, but here, I'm not even talking about your self-reflection as a leader. I'm not talking about you now. I'm talking about how you engage the teacher in making self-reflection become a part of their process. I hope you see the difference here, right? So now self-reflection. Let's go to the second. So I got what we got here. Six layers of this self-reflection. Layer number 2, self-assessment. Now, I know, those of you that have been with me, I have talked about this plenty of times. You'll find this on at least 10 videos, right? But I'm still going to say to you, and that's my daughter there, Cabria. I'm rocking Dave's hat today. This is how I'm celebrating his life and paying tribute to him, Cabria. That's my daughter. So here, I'm saying to you that self-reflection is one thing. That's watching you. That's letting the DVD turn, right? So you're watching yourself. But the self-assessment's a little bit different. The self-assessment is evaluation of yourself. Now imagine that you're an instructional leader and you do carve out that time to engage your staff. And now you're having a conversation with them, not about solely the importance of self-assessment, but a conversation about the need for them to engage in self-assessment. Do you see the difference? See, it's one thing to have a theoretical discussion about the fact that self-assessment is important, right? So that's one thing. But it's another thing to have your people skills working, that we talk about on First Saturdays, and have your people skills working. And now you're convincing the teacher that your own self-assessment matters towards your own pedagogical growth and development. But imagine you're not taking the time or haven't figured out a way to have that conversation on a sustained basis. Then look here, y'all. Everybody is being deprived. Everybody is being deprived, right? Not just the teacher, but youngsters sitting in the classroom. It's a generic name I use for children. I call it Jalil, right? So instead of me saying the boy, right, the young man, right, I say Jalil, or the boys. I say Jalil. Jalil is being deprived of a teacher that studies the game film. I mean, think about it. Your favorite football team, my brother-in-law David would be the Giants, right? So Think about your team and they got beat down last Sunday and during the football season, and then they watch no film of why. And then they go on and play the game next week. Guess what? They're probably going to get beat down again because they didn't study the film to determine why did we get our butts kicked? Why did we get slammed? How did we get knocked out? Why was our performance such that the home crowd booed us out of the stadium? See, that's what I mean. So you as instructional leader, you got to go hard in that pre-observation conference with the discussion of the teacher internalizing, incorporating self-assessment as a part of his or her everyday, daily practice. That's how that's got to be, man. That's how that self-assessment is critical. But let me holler at somebody out here in terms of you, because I'm talking about your teacher, but I would be remiss if I didn't say you. I'm gonna use me first. I said it already. I'm gonna say it again. I self-assess me hard. I do, man. I self-assess my work, man. I do, man. I take my work so seriously. I self-assess the Saturday Academy. I sit here watching these videos, right? I'm assessing me. I'm assessing my demeanor. I'm assessing my content. I'm assessing my energy. You know, I'm assessing all that because every Saturday, hear me, I'm being transparent and vulnerable. Every Saturday, I want to come back better than I was the previous Saturday. Because if I'm better, that means if you coming on here to get this information, then you're better. Right? If you just on here to be entertained by Kafele, that's another story. But if you on here to be better by listening to my content, then I gotta be better. And see, that's why I love this this is why I love this platform so much. Because when I go out and speak, I mean, most of the time the people in the audience are there because they have to be there. Their boss said they gotta be there. But see, ain't nobody gotta log on to this. People that log on to this or watch the videos during the week or the month or the year, they doing that thing voluntarily, man. So therefore, I got to be at my best, man. So in order for me to be at my best, I have to assess me. Self-assessment right here. Big mirror today. I lost my little one. I left it on a podium in DC, right? Big joint, right? So I'm saying to you, it's the same. Let's keep going. So we said self-reflection, self-assessment towards self-adjustment. I'm saying to you, you got to shift. Somebody don't hear me, man. You can't go in there being the same every day. You got to shift. You got to make an adjustment. You got to make a pivot because I promise you, there was a flaw. So again, I ain't even talking about you. I'm talking about your teachers. So now here you are engaging your staff in that pre-observation conference, and this might be continuous, ongoing, same thing. So here you are, let me role play it. So teacher, talk to me about the adjustment that you made as a result of the self-reflection and self-assessment. See? You putting it on the teacher. Teacher, talk to me about the adjustment you made. Not the adjustment you made as a result of our meeting. That's a different conversation. Talk to me about the adjustment you made as a result of the self-reflection, self-assessment that you recently engaged in. Whew. See, that's it right there, y'all. So now I'm going to put the mirror up. Ask yourself, is that a part of your discussion with your teachers? Is that a part of your discussion with the teachers you supervise or other staff? But again, let's be real. Let's say that you're somebody and you're finished with school for the year, but during the school year, and you say, man, Principal Kafele is dropping it today. But the thing is, it's truth in what he's saying. But I don't have time to do that. I don't have these conversations. Well, that's why that leadership blueprint video is the one you need to watch. It's right on the channel, Virtual AP Leadership Academy YouTube channel. Look for that leadership blueprint video. You need to watch that because you have to have time. That means there's something with the culture of your school that's preventing you from being the leader that you want to be, right? There's something about the culture of your school that you are not on top of things. See, I'm not going to let, and let me say this about just beyond school, the world. I'm not letting the world interfere with me. You know, I got that whole series going on with protection. I'm going to protect my peace. I'm going to protect my happiness. I'm going to protect my plan. I'm going to protect my intentionality. There it is. I knew if I kept on saying these words, the word I really want would come out. So I was like brainstorming until I got the right word. I'm just letting y'all know I'm being transparent. Watch this, y'all. I've never articulated this word in my life in this context. Today was a first. I'm going to protect my intentionality. Now I got to write that down because I got to put it in my next book, right? So bear with me a second. I can't lose this thought, right? And so I've never said that before. See, I talk about protecting, like, you know, in that new book I'm writing, it's like 105 different things that I said you got to protect within your leadership. But the word intentionality was not one of the 105. You have to protect, because think about it. The word intentionality's root word is intentional. And the word intentional means on purpose. So you have to protect your intentionality. Man, I'm talking about something I didn't plan for. I ain't never said this before. God said, and I'm going to give it to God said, look, I got something different for you. Give this to the people this morning. Protect your intentionality. Are you kidding me? Do you know how powerful that is? I've never said that before. You got to protect your intentionality. I mean, it's another way of saying protect your purpose, but like that just rolls different, right? Like it hits different, to use that slang, that contemporary slang. Protect your intentionality, man. Woo! I'm trying not to scream today, y'all. I really am, y'all. It's you got to protect that, man. Right? So whatever your intentions are, you got to protect them. Right? You got to lock them down, man. You got to lock them down. You got to lock them down. Let me keep going, y'all. I'm glad I wrote this down. This is going in my new book. Maybe that'll be the title of the book, Protecting Your Intentionality. Let's go, y'all. So you got to make that adjustment. That's where I let it go. Hey, Jigga, y'all, you probably weren't with me in the beginning. I'm mourning. We're in mourning in my house. We're celebrating the life of my brother-in-law. So I vowed to keep it down today. Right? That's why. I'm wearing his hat. I took it out of his car, and this he wore it for probably a decade. Right? So here we go. Next, self-improvement. Right. So we talked about making the adjustment, self-adjustment, but now within that adjustment, you're having that conversation with that teacher. Hey, teacher, talk to me about how your self-reflection and your self-assessment led to self-adjustment and how you got to this self-improvement. Now you're going to zip it. You're going to shut up and you're going to let the teacher talk. Right? Now, if you find that teacher struggles with that relatively easy request, then you know what you got to do. Yeah, Principal Gary, yeah, I'm much better, man, because by the time I got to DC, I was in bad shape, man. I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this keynote. But yeah, so you gotta have that discussion. And then if teacher can't respond in terms of the ingredients to improvement relative to the game film, self-reflection, self-assessment, self-adjustment, then you know where you got to intervene. See, that's you. So it's easy to talk about this strategy, that strategy in terms of who you are as instructional leader. But where does the film come in? See, where does the reflection come in? Where does this self-assessment come in? See, that's got to be a part of the conversation too. Not the teacher waiting for you to write an evaluation, but the teacher doing his or her own evaluation via self-assessment. Let's keep moving. So I told you I got 6 layers to that. So that was self-improvement. The next one is self-actualization. Self-actualization in my mind is a goal that you and I will never meet. I don't, you know, this is just personal with me. I don't know of anybody that actually self-actualized, meaning that you actually are in a world of perfection. You have attained this thing. I mean, no, it's always room to grow. That's why in that leadership blueprint with the situation analysis, I say areas where I want to continue to grow as opposed to areas of proficiency. Because even though you may be good at something, you may not be phenomenal at it. You may not be great at it. You may not be superstar, no margin for improvement at it. So I just want to make sure that, you know, we make that distinction. So therefore, it's a great goal, self-actualization. What a great goal, a goal that we'll never actually meet, right? So we keep that in front of us. So we have that conversation about self-actualization. And then lastly of those 6 layers, self-care. Self-preservation. Let me say it again. Self-care, self-preservation. We don't want the teacher to wear down. We don't want that. So we got to have that discussion about balance of life, because you and I have teachers on staff who want success for their children so bad that they will sacrifice outside of school life and just go hard around the clock. And then dream about it, right? We got Trinidad and Tobago in the building. I told you we international, y'all. Good to see you. Nikisha Nelson. So I'm saying to you, make sure that it's ongoing. All of this is ongoing. Self-reflection, self-assessment, self-adjustment, self-improvement, self-actualization, self-care, self-preservation. It's ongoing, y'all. So that the teacher hears it from you regularly that I got to hit the off switch. I got to take it down. I got to shut it down. I got to get with my friends. I got to get with my family. I got to get with my significant other, right? I got to get to the gym. I got to get to the movies. I got to get to the library. I got to get to do the things I enjoy, right? Not just work, because the work is going to be there. So you got to engage them. I'm not talking about you and your self-care and you and your self-preservation. Of course, that's important, but we've done that before. I'm talking about that instructional leadership meeting where you're having that conversation, right, with the teacher about how he or she engages in self-care, engages in self-preservation. That's important, right? So make sure that's done. Hit 68 degrees for me. No, thermostat. Thank you. So let's go. So that was number 1. Let me go to number 2. Toward altering the trajectory of a child, the discussion of the why with your teachers matters, right? Well, I'm gonna keep this one short. I want to try to be done by 12:30 Eastern time. Again, toward altering the trajectory of a child, the discussion of the why matters, right? With your teachers matters. What are we talking about? Just think about, I want you to think about this for a second. Let me take you down this journey. Think about the teacher that is in the classroom, taking care of business, doing their thing. But whatever this taking care of business, doing their thing is, it is not rooted in a why, right? It's not rooted in a why. I always forget to put this thing on here. Let me put that on there. There we go. Right? So it's not rooted in a why. And I'm saying to you, within the work, you got to figure out, but what's your why, right? And when I say why, I mean your purpose, your reason, your because, right? What is your purpose, your reason, your because? Because see, your why, that's your energy. That's your fuel. You know, I think about, I was so sick last week, man. The sinuses were aching. It was painful. I'm coughing all night long. Nothing's working. But, you know, I wanted those presentations. So my why kept me going. It kept me, it kept me afloat. And because every time I felt like maybe I should call the client and say I can't make it, but my why, as far as my why for why I do the work I do, it got me excited. One of those nights, I landed because of flight delays. I landed at 1 o'clock in the morning. I had to drive 35 minutes to the hotel. I get to bed at 3. I got to iron the clothes. I'm in this hotel. I didn't even share this with my wife. I forgot. The hotel, as I walked in the room, I was in Florida. So you know them big, you know, we up here, we call them roaches, but some people, they call it a water bug. So I open the door and there's this water bug, this size, walking across the doorway. I'm like, man, this thing might be, the family might be in here, but I got to get to sleep. I called the front desk. You got any extra rooms? No. All right. I got to make do. So now I'm paranoid. It's 3 o'clock. I got to get up at 6 o'clock to speak for 8 hours, right? But I got this roach on my mind. Then I said, I got to iron my clothes. You know them little miniature ironing boards that's this size? That's what they had. How am I going to iron a suit on something this size, right? So I'm struggling. I finally got it done. So now I'm coughing all night. So the alarm didn't have to wake me. The coughs woke me. So now I got to speak 8 hours. I'm like, maybe I should just call the client and say, look, I'm sick. I can't make it. But now my wife said, get in there and bring them folks something. I drank about 3 or 4 cups of tea with honey, took all that medication, took all that Tylenol, all that stuff. I was ready. And we got it done, man. We got it done. I'm sharing that with you to say the why matters, man. My why got me through it, man. My why said, you got this, you got this, you got this. And I got it. I ain't even throw the roach in the garbage, man. When I left to leave, he was laying there dead because I stepped on him right at the front door. I said, I'm gonna leave him there so when the cleaning folks come in, they see what I had to deal with, right? I was gonna leave a nasty note, but my spirit said I'd let it go, right? So, but I'm saying this to you, y'all, the why. During difficult times, your why is going to get you through. But if you have no why, so now my daughter said, she said, that's nasty. Yeah, it was. It's nasty, man. Especially not throwing it away. I left it there. It's about this big. It's big. You know, big Florida water bug, man, brown, right? So here's the thing. I'm talking about your pre-observation conference. We talking instructional leadership still. And what are you having the why conversation with your teacher? Are you putting your teacher in a position where your teacher can talk about, but here's the reason I do this work? And maybe that why needs to be refined. Maybe it needs to be narrow. Maybe it's too broad. Your teacher might be in there talking about my why is to make a difference. No, that's too broad. Everybody want to make a difference. What distinguishes you from everybody else? You may have to help that. You may have to walk that teacher through finding, but what is your specificity? What's that very narrow thing that you said, but this is what wakes me in the morning. This is why I do this work in the morning. You got to look at it like that, right? So your why, never forget the power of and the reason for your why. It matters, right? So let me keep moving. Number 3, toward altering the trajectory of a child, the discussion of passion with your teachers matter. So in other words, do they bring passion to this work, right? Because you know, we live in a real world. And we know that there are some people out here. This is not me doing any teacher bashing. This is just me saying there are people out there that this thing called teaching is just a job. It's a 9 to 5, so to speak, right? And or sometimes it started as a passion, but it morphed into a job. People got tired. They got tired of teaching in a pandemic. They got tired of their leadership in some cases. They got tired of their colleagues. They got tired of their current circumstances, whatever it is. I'm saying you got to engage your teacher in that conversation about their passion to bring them back to where they were. because it's easy to lose sight of your fire. It's easy to lose sight of your passion, of your enthusiasm, of your excitement, of your energy. It is easy to. So I'm saying to you, I'm not talking about your passion right now. None of this presentation is about you. It's about your conversation with your teachers in terms of having that intimate one-to-one. And in this regard, having them express to you, articulate to you, what is their passion? What are they passionate about? So the discussion of their passion as it relates to their work. And I narrowed it down to three things, three self-reflective questions. Am I passionate about my students? Three questions. That's the first one. Am I passionate about my students? I may have mentioned this last week. I'm not sure if I did. Forgive me for being redundant, but I put Greg Sneed up. I met him as a band teacher, right, in East Orange, New Jersey, where I'm from. I met him as the band director. Yeah, I don't want to minimize that. Band director. Then he became assistant principal, and now he's a principal. So big up Greg Sneed while I'm talking, y'all. He's a principal now. First, just got it right here in New Jersey, right? So I'm proud of him. I know him. I'm proud of him. Young brother, Principal Sneed is his new name. He was band director Sneed, AP Sneed, now Principal Sneed. And like I tell everybody that writes me these emails and DMs and so forth, I got the job, Principal Kafele, I got the job. I said, okay, excellent. But don't use getting the job as a graduation from the virtual AP Leadership Academy. This virtual AP Leadership Academy has no graduation date, right? Ain't gonna be no commencement ceremony, because we're gonna be relevant. If you become the commissioner of education, we're gonna keep this thing relevant. So there ain't no graduation from this. It ain't no, I don't need this no more. Oh, yes, you do. Right? We gonna keep this thing relevant forever, right? So let's keep moving. So again, am I passionate about my students? Imagine you supervise a teacher and you discover that the teacher has lost their passion for the work or their compassion for the children, right? Well, you may never learn that if you're not having this conversation. If you're running around with disciplinary referrals all day, when you going to get to humanize this work? When you going to get to have intimate relationships with young people professionally, with your staff in the building, that you really know one another professionally? When you running around doing building management things and doing discipline things and supervising cafeteria things? No. Instructional leadership must be at your center, at your core. Everything else happens around it, but instructional leadership must be central to your role. And a lot of times we think instructional leadership is just visiting classrooms. No. Instructional leadership is the meeting that I'm spending an hour and a half talking about today, maybe 2 hours, right? That I'm talking about today. So now you having a discussion with the teacher, and you throw the self-reflective question at the teacher. Teacher, ask yourself, am I passionate about my students? Right? And let's see what comes out of that. Greg Riley, I'm paying tribute to my brother-in-law. This is his hat, and he was he's a diehard Yankee fan, so I got the hat out of his car and I'm rocking it today. So that's why I got all this Yankee gear on today. So am I passionate about my students? And if the teacher has lost that passion, then that's where you come in. That's your positioning to help teacher to get that fire back, to get that passion back for the young people. Because if not, then why do I need that teacher? Number two, am I passionate about my craft? Meaning that, is this thing called teaching and learning my thing? Right? And yeah, I like what I just read here. I got to put this up here. Talk to teachers or students, but not at each other. Right? So, and that's what this is all about. This is what it's all about. Right? So now, Am I passionate about my craft? Like, is this thing called teaching and learning? Is this my craft? Is this my thing? Right? That I want to be the best version of myself at it. You know, as a teacher, y'all, that thing called teaching was my craft, man. Well, as a principal, this thing called principalship was my craft. And let me be transparent on this one now. As a speaker, as a consultant, as a keynoter, as the voice of the virtual AP Leadership Academy, this thing is my craft. Let me tell you something my mother says to me sometimes. I know she watching, she listening. She probably just said, uh-oh, what are you getting ready to say? My mother says to me and my wife, my mother and my wife, they both say, you know, your interviewing skills are getting better. Like, you really, matter of fact, they say I'm good, right? You good, you good, you have come along. Now they ain't say I come along because that would imply I was like horrible, right? They say you getting better and better, because I never interviewed anybody before. You know, I did a job interview, but I never interviewed someone for a broadcast. So I use when my wife said you interviewed very well today, or my mother says you interviewed this person very well and you getting better at it. You're very natural with it now. That's my game film, y'all. I'm processing that. That's not going in one ear and out the other, because since I'm interviewing people, I want to be good at it. I don't want to be on here and I'm lousy. And you know, y'all like, man, Kafele ain't got no skills, right? He speaks well by himself, but he's not good at interview. I don't want to be that. I want people to be able to watch this and say, Kafele asked the right questions. Kafele asked good questions. Kafele is very good at how he delivers the question, right? That's what I want to be. So I got to be transparent. So therefore, I got to be passionate about my craft. I was always just passionate about the speaking side. But now that I've interviewed like a million folks over the past year. I want to be good at that too. So I've worked on my craft of interviewship, if that's a word. I don't know if it is or not. So we'll say interviewing. That's a word, right? So are you passionate about your craft? So now when you're sitting down with that teacher, you want to be able to gauge in that conversation, because that's what it is a conversation about whether or not teacher maintains passion for the craft. And then coupled with that passion for the craft is number 3, am I passionate about my professional growth? So my craft as an interviewer is one thing, but I want to grow professionally as an interviewer. I've already got, man, I'm like plotting and planning, y'all. I'm thinking sometimes I'm going to spend my dime, and sometimes I'm not going to interview folks on this computer. I'm going to fly out to where they are, and we're going to sit in a room somewhere. I'm going to have a professional camera set up so you can see a full body shots of us, and we're going to kick it that way. That's a different kind of interview, but I already got it in my mind. I'm going to be doing that sometimes. Because I want to get better, man. I want to get better. I want to get better. I want to grow. I want to grow. I want to grow. That's being passionate about your craft and your own professional growth. So here you are with your teacher, and you want to gauge, is professional learning like a chore, a burden, or is professional learning welcomed and embraced with open arms? Yes, I want to learn something new. Yes, I want to grow. Yes, I want to read this book. Yes, I want to go to this conference. Yes, I want to attend this academy. Yes, I want to attend this institute. Yes, I want to interact with this person that is considered an expert. Yes, I want to grow. I want to grow. I want to grow. I want to grow. You want to gauge that from the teacher. We talk about instructional leadership. Grad school is not talking about having a talk with the teacher in the pre-observation conference about your passion for your professional growth. That's why this platform is so important, because we're going beyond grad school. We're talking about discussions you're having with the teacher about the teacher's passion for children, the teacher's passion for the craft, the teacher's passion for professional growth and development. Let's keep going. I'm on question number 4. I got 8 altogether. I'm going quick. Toward altering the trajectory. I'm actually good on time. My goal is 12:30, and you know I might go a little over. I don't have no rapid fire questions to ask and all that, so we should be good. Toward altering the trajectory of a child, the discussion of classroom climate and culture with your teachers matters. That one's so important. I'm gonna read it again. Toward altering the trajectory of a child, the discussion of classroom climate and culture with your teachers matters. So yes, we're going to talk pedagogy. Yes, we're going to talk instructional strategies. But guess what? Pedagogy can't happen. Instructional strategies can't happen if the climate and the culture of the classroom have been broken or are toxic or are dysfunctional. It can't happen. That climate and that culture must be in place if pedagogy is going to happen optimally. So here you are having this 5-part conversation. And see, you like everything I'm talking about today, this is not for one day. And this is why these are ongoing conversations. We're talking about altering the trajectory of children. But there's some things that you and your staff members, your teachers have to talk about ongoingly. Not okay, I hit the passion thing back in September. I ain't got to deal with that no more. I hit the self-assessment, self-reflection thing back in October, so I ain't got to deal with that no more. Nah, this thing is ongoing, y'all. It's ongoing. That's why the culture of your school matters. It matters. It matters. Because the culture of your school has to free you up to be able to do these things. Right? If you're not freed up, you can't do these things. You're going to be, your time is going to manage you. You will have no control over it. So with that, I got these 5 areas that I'm not going to spend a lot of time on. 5 areas under the culture and climate of your classroom. Here we go. Number 1, the environment for learning, which asks the question, do I provide my students with a learning environment of excellence? And as a follow-up, what is the evidence that I provide my students with a learning environment of excellence? So is that an environment that's conducive to a youngster having the willingness to soar? Or is it an environment, whether it be the physical environment or the people within the environment, an environment that constricts me, and thereby I cannot maximize my potential? That environment matters. So the environment for learning, letter B, I'll call it. So that was letter A under number 4, letter B, attitude towards students. You want to be able to, in that conversation, that because see, we talking about the pre-observation conference. We're talking instructional leadership today, but we're not talking pedagogy yet anyway. So here we're talking about the environment first, but now I'm looking at the attitude of the teacher towards students, which asks 3 questions I want to give you. I know a lot of you write notes because I see when you post them on Twitter. So just write fast, y'all, or watch the video over and over. Attitude towards students asks the following 3 questions. Do I believe in them? Right? You got to gauge that. Do I have a teacher in my building that only believes in some of the students? How are your students going to achieve as a school optimally, and you've got staff, you've got adults in the building that do not believe in children or do not believe in certain children? Right? So that's you gotta clean, you gotta have that conversation so that you can gauge that, and as you're gauging it, now you can coach it. You got to coach it. You got to coach it out of them. That every one of these youngsters, regardless of the circumstances that they were born into, regardless of the trauma that they may be facing in their lives, they still have the intellectual capacity to be successful as students under your watch in your school. They still have it. So do I believe in them? Tweak the question. What do I believe about them? That's a whole other kind of question. What do I believe about the children that are in my classroom? You want to ask that teacher that question self-reflectively. What do I believe about the students that I teach? That's got to come out. And that's, again, staff meeting stuff. You could talk about that. You could have it on a PowerPoint as I do in presentations. Do I believe in them? What do I believe about them? It's on a screen, but ain't nobody under no pressure. It's just a PowerPoint. But imagine it's just the 2 of you in a meeting. And now you challenge the teacher. Where am I? What do I believe about them? right? Do I really believe that each youngster in this classroom can soar? What do I believe about my students? That's you. And then the third one, oh no. Do I believe in them? What do I believe about them? And then here's the third one under that question, under attitude towards students. What do I believe about myself as it relates to them? See, y'all might have missed that one. Let me repeat that. What do I believe about myself as it relates to them? See, that forces the teacher to look within. That takes the teacher here now. There may be some things that you don't believe that you have what it takes to connect with each of the learners in the classroom. So things about yourself, I don't believe I can connect with that one or that category of youngster, whatever it is. That's where you come in. That's that coaching. That's that instructional leadership. And that's why I will not equate this process with content that you share in a staff meeting. It is not the same thing. Or a professional development session. It is not the same thing, because those meetings can be so impersonal where nobody says a thing. A whole lot of my trainings, I ask a whole lot of difficult questions, a whole lot of difficult self-reflective questions, and my audiences typically don't want to talk to me. And they tell me why. They say your questions are very difficult, right? The questions are very painful. The questions make me look within myself, and I don't always feel good about the response that I'm getting of myself. So therefore, the whole group, 100 people in the room, 200 people in the room, we just gonna remain quiet. They'll talk to each other when I have them work collaboratively, but they don't want to share out with me, because the questions they foster some real deep soul searching, some real deep honesty within oneself that one doesn't necessarily want to go public with amongst their peers in a class. Now, if I'm in a conference and no one knows each other, yeah, they'll talk there. But when they're in the same district, in the same room, these questions can be very, very difficult to deal with publicly, right? So, and particularly when we say, what do I believe about myself as it relates to them? Right? That's the word I was looking for, Yolanda. They're very uncomfortable. They create discomfort. So that was attitude towards students. Next one, relationship with students. Relationship with students asks the question, do I know them? But then, like the belief one, I tweak it. What do I know about them? So do I know you? What do I know about you? What do I know about myself as it relates to you? What if I got some biases within me? To use this as an example, I got some biases, right? Whether it be racial biases, socioeconomic biases, nationality biases, gender biases, LGBTQ biases, whatever. I may have some biases in me, and those biases connect directly with certain students in the classroom. So then let's go back to that question: what do I know about myself as it relates to my students? If you're able to, as you're dialoguing with teacher, as you're coaching teacher, you may be able to position yourself where that teacher is brutally honest, and it comes out of that teacher that I've got some biases that I need to deal with that I didn't realize that I even had. Now, how do I know that? I've been there, y'all. I've been there in workshops, right? I've been there in workshops. Ask these questions and then go hard. And teachers like, I got some internal work to do. I can't make those connections until I deal with me. I got some damage inside that I need to fix. See, so think about it like that, right? So what do I know about? Do I know them? What do I know about them? And what do I know about myself as it relates to them? That was relationship. Letter D, compassion for students, which asks the question, do I care about them? But the real question is, do they perceive that I care? So here you are, you having that pre-observation conference before you go into that classroom. And we're not even talking pedagogy. We just talking about the relationship of the teacher with the students, the teacher with the classroom. And here you talking about, you're raising the question, do you care about the youngsters? All right, anybody can say yes to that. But here's the real question. Teacher, what's your perception as to whether or not the students believe that you care? That's the question. That's the question. Not do you care? Everybody, yeah, of course I care. I love students. No, what is their perception? And when we're honest, when we're brutally honest with ourselves, the truth will come out. We know perception students have of us. We know that in terms of caring. We know that. So now here's you as instructional leader. Now you can position yourself to coach teacher through ensuring that teacher brings the best self to youngsters to increase the probability that caring is real, that their perception of who you are is real in terms of one who cares about them. That matters. And then lastly, relevance and instruction. Am I taking into consideration who's in my classroom and ensuring that instruction speaks to my audience, right? Instruction speaks to my students, as opposed to I'm not considering who's in the room. I didn't read the room. I didn't do the audience analysis. I'm just speaking to students who are generic and have no real being of themselves. I'm just talking to children. No, they got to be more than children. They got to be the children that are assigned to you and enrolled in your classroom, so the instruction culturally speaks to them, so that relationships culturally consider them, not just treating children as generic, right? Colorblind, culture blind, all that kind of stuff, but being very specific as to who's in the classroom. So that number 4, again, was towards altering the trajectory of a child. The discussion of the classroom climate and culture with your teachers matters. And I broke it down into environment for learning, attitude towards students, relationship with students, compassion for students, and relevance in instruction. Let me go to number 5. I'm gonna be quick on number 5. In fact, I might just stop at number 5. We'll see. Number 5 says, toward altering the trajectory of a child. The discussion on equity mindset teaching matters with your teachers. Are you having not the staff meeting somebody, not the bulletin somebody? And matter of fact, hit that share button for me one more time. Hit that retweet button for me one more time. Let them know Kafele is on fire today. Listen, I'm saying to you, the staff meeting's not good enough. The department meeting's not good enough. The PLC is not good enough. It's that one-on-one. It's that coaching session. It's that instructional leadership pre-observation conference. And now here you are having that one-on-one talking about being an equity mindset teacher. Now, when I say equity mindset teacher, you know, those of you who are new to me and you're wondering, man, you're giving a lot of content. Like, why don't you have any notes on the screen? Because I do this professionally, and I can't give you all for free on Saturday what they pay me thousands of dollars for during the week, right? They'd probably sue me. So I keep it auditory here, and I just encourage you to keep rewinding the video, and you get all this information down. But let me give you my definition of what an equity mindset teacher is. I've done this in previous videos, but it's in a different context. Let me give it to you here. An equity mindset teacher is a teacher who utilizes a variety of developmentally appropriate instructional strategies that consider the differing academic, social, and emotional needs of each of the learners. You hear that word? Each of the learners in a student-centered, culturally responsive, culturally relevant, barrier-free, equity mindset classroom where student individuality, student cultural identity, and student voice matter exponentially. Now, I'll say to you, that definition, you know, you'll notice it's memorized. I didn't read that, but it's here, right? So this whole book is based on that definition, the Equity and Social Justice Education 50. So if you don't have a copy yet, just go to Amazon today, right? Go there right now and get your copy, or go to principalkafele.com, either one, and get your copy, right? As a matter of fact, let me just put some language on the screen for you, and that way you can you know exactly what you got to do. There it is on the bottom of the screen. Tell you everywhere you can get my information and how to get to me. Let's keep it moving, keep it moving. So that is an equity mindset teacher, right? So what I want to do, I want to wrap it up, y'all. I'm closing. I'm closing with a long close, but I'm closing. And my closing is at the bottom of that definition. I said we're student individuality, student cultural identity, and student voice matter exponentially. Grace, that warms my soul, because that's why I wake up on Saturdays to do this, man. If somebody sees fit to take what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, what I believe, and write that many pages, then you that's good for my spirit, man. It's good for my soul. I appreciate you. It keeps me growing. It keeps me going, right? So what I want to do, I want to read to y'all very quickly, because I said I did want to get all this on video. Number 6, 7, and 8 is I want to take student individuality, and I want to give this to you in the context of the student. So I'm going to speak to you as if a student is speaking, to just highlight what I mean by student individuality. And then going back to the whole premise of today's session, I want you to go to, when you have that pre-observation conference, or when you have that one-on-one, whatever the reason for the one-on-one, whether it be pre-observation or you guys are just chopping it up, talking classroom, I want you to make sure that you incorporate the conversation of student individuality, because the individuality of the student really matters. I mean, it really, really matters. And if that student gets lost in the all conversation, then that uniqueness of that student can get lost. And now the prospects for that student can get lost. The possibilities for that student can get lost. So the individuality of each student, because each student is its own entity, can never get lost in your classroom. So with that said, under student individuality, toward altering the trajectory of a child, the discussion of student individuality with your teachers matters. So let me give you these 5 bullet points. This is the student talking. Teacher, get to know me beyond who I am in my classroom, period. Again, teacher, get to know me beyond who I am in my classroom. And I need to put emphasis on the word me as I wrote it. So get to know me beyond who I am in my classroom. If you only know me for who I am in the classroom, you don't know me. Secondly, teacher, believe in me without judging me or comparing me to my peers. Again, teacher, believe in me without judging me or comparing me to my peers. Number 3, encourage me. We're talking student individuality. Encourage me to strive to defeat the odds that are stacked against me, toward helping me to become a firm believer in my ability to succeed. Number 4, prove to me that you care about me, not through your words, but through your commitment to my academic, social, and emotional growth and development. That was a long one. Just rewind the tape and get all this down when I finish recording. Last one, challenge me. I should say, challenge me to maximize my potential while taking the time to learn how I learn and to teach me accordingly. I would be remiss if I went to the next category without expounding on that one. He said, the student said, challenge me to maximize my potential while taking the time to learn how I learn and to teach me accordingly. In other words, imagine youngster is in a classroom and teacher does not know how that youngster's brain makes sense out of information. Or teacher assumes that 25 learners should be getting and attaining and retaining the information, processing and retaining the information all equivalently. Imagine that. And if you don't, this is a mind of the teacher, you're not studying, you're not serious, you're not focused, you're not working hard, you're not self-disciplined, and so on and so forth, right? No, that's not the issue. I mean, that is not the issue. You got 25 different learners in this equity world, because that's what this is all about when we talk about student individuality. I got to know how you function. A lot of times, I've told you this before, a lot of times when I do a short keynote, 45 minutes, they'll say, the conference planner might say to me, why do you need a PowerPoint? It's just a short keynote. I say, because the audience is not all auditory. Some folks in that audience need some words, man. I mean, that's, you know, obviously I struggle with that on Saturday morning, but I told you why. But when I'm out here doing this stuff during my day job, I got to make sure that the folks who don't learn through their ear can at least get it through their eyes, right? So it's the same thing in a classroom with babies, because when I'm speaking, we're talking about adult learners. But what about the babies, right? So keep that in mind. You got to know how they learn. So let's translate this now. We're not talking about the teacher. We're talking about you in your coaching session in helping that teacher to become great. So now here you are asking the teacher the question, how do you ensure that you know how your students learn? And then turn the floor over to the teacher. How do you deliver instruction in ways that each of the learners have opportunity to be successful, equitable opportunity to be successful? Teacher might flip it on you. Mr. or Ms. AP or Mr. or Ms. Principal, I need some help. And that's when you're going to get your coaches, your teacher leaders, and perhaps yourself, depending on your level of expertise. And you're going to have some folks who model that for that teacher. But it's not going to just be theory. It's got to become concrete. But it's starting with this conversation, and then you getting to hear from the teacher. If the teacher says to you, I don't know how to differentiate, or I don't have the time to differentiate, or I don't have the time to figure out or to discern how individuals learn and make sense out of information, well, that's where you come in. See, but you got to have that meeting. So that's why I'm saying to you, with this whole session today, this whole session is about who you are in that conference, what types of questions you're asking. So let me go to student cultural identity. I got 5 for you again, and then I got student voice, and then I'm done. Toward altering the trajectory of a child, the discussion of student cultural identity with your students matter. Listen to what the student has to say here. Number 1, expose me. No, let me change that. Expose me to my history, because I need to know who I am historically. Let me tell you something. If you're Black and you don't know the history of Black people in America, then this holiday that just passed the other day, Juneteenth, it makes no sense to you. If you're white and you don't know the history of Black people in America, then this holiday called Juneteenth makes no sense to you. If you're Latino, if you're Asian, if you're Native American, if you're whomever, if you don't know the history, then that holiday makes no sense. And if you do know the history, then you may have additional questions about the holiday. But I'll leave that right there for another time, right? So expose me to my history, because I need to know who I am in this mirror historically. Then he went on with letter B, expose my non-Black peers to my history. We'll call them Black since I'm Black, because they need to know who I am. Let me say that again. Expose my non-Black peers to my history, because they need to know who I am historically. Let me keep going. Engage me through a culturally responsive, culturally relevant lens toward demonstrating awareness and understanding of who I am culturally, racially, and ethnically. Next one, teach me through a culturally relevant lens, because I need to be able to relate to and identify with what I am learning. And lastly, relate to me through an anti-racist lens, because I need to be able to learn within a bias-free, racially bias-free learning environment. Those were my 5 student examples under student cultural identity. And I'm at the end, last one, number 8, student voice. And you know something, since y'all are still here, going back to that student cultural identity, that's you having the audacity. That's you being bigger than the politics. That's you being able to navigate the politics, or being able to have the necessary conversations with your staff about the uncomfortable topic of race, about the uncomfortable topic of cultural responsiveness, about the uncomfortable topic of cultural relevance, right? You got to be able to have a conversation. So here you are, you're engaging teacher, but you're always putting your teacher in a situation where your teacher can respond, because the teacher's responses are your data. That's your information. You're using that to coach the teacher up, to get the teacher to where teacher needs to be in order for children to have an equitable opportunity to be successful in your school and in your classroom. So with that being said, last one, and I'm done. Toward altering the trajectory of a child, the discussion of student voice with your teachers matters. So here's my 5 examples coming from a youngster. Respect and appreciate my voice, because it is a verbal expression of who I am. In other words, if my voice, if my opinions, if my thoughts, if my ideas, if my viewpoint, if my vantage point, if my values, if where I'm coming from doesn't matter verbally, then I don't matter in reality, because my voice is just a verbal expression of who I am. So if my voice doesn't matter in my classroom, if my thoughts, if my views, if my ideas, if my reality, which is expressed through words, doesn't matter in my classroom, then I don't matter. Now you got to have that conversation with the teacher, because you may find that you have some staff in your building, or a staff member in your building, that does not respect or appreciate the voice of a student or more. That's why this is so important. Next, assist me, the student said, with developing my voice, inclusive of my communication skill, because its utilization is an invaluable lifelong necessity. Let me tell y'all something. I don't have a doctorate degree. I will never have a doctorate degree, and I will never need a doctorate degree, because when I figured out how to use my voice, it took me to places that I believe, this is just me personally, that a doctorate could have never taken me, in isolation from my voice. My voice, and I don't mean the sound of my voice. You know, people always stop me in the street like every day, 7 days a week. Your voice, oh my God, your voice, you must be on radio. I hear that 7 days a week, all my adult life. You must be on radio. No, I'm not on radio, but I'm a speaker. I knew it. Right? What do you speak about? And then so here on the airplane, oh, that's the big one on the airplane, man. I say, sit down next to me. Hey, good afternoon. You know, I figure that's it. Oh my God, your voice. Are you on radio? Are you famous? So, but my point is this: my voice is my money maker, man. My voice is my career advancer, right? My voice is my embodiment. So don't allow a teacher to stifle the voice of a youngster. Voice opens doors. My voice got me in that classroom. My voice got me in that school. My voice gets me on them stages, in them conferences, in them districts, and so forth. Voice. Don't stifle it. Help youngster to develop it, nurture it, cultivate it, right? So again, respect and appreciate my voice, because it is a verbal expression of who I am. And then I said, assist me with developing my voice, inclusive of my communication skill, because its utilization is an invaluable lifelong necessity. So those first 2 for me, the literal voice. I know there's an asset to the way it sounds. I've heard it enough times, but also what comes the words that are articulated with that sound. That's me. Everything I've said this morning, that's me. What about that youngster? Is that youngster's voice respected and appreciated? Let me keep going. Help me. Let me say it better. Help me is what the youngster's saying. To develop, this is a big one, to develop the courage to use my voice on social justice issues, because I need to be able to articulate the concerns of the world around me. Imagine there's a little miniature Dr. King sitting in that classroom, but there's no intentionality around the development of the student's voice to help youngster to develop the courage to use one's voice. Then that little King, that little Sojourner Truth, that little Mary McLeod Bethune, that little Malcolm, that little Garvey, right? And I can go on and on. We may never know, because he or she may never know what they were born with. See, that's us. But again, I'm not talking about the teacher in the classroom per se. I'm talking about you, leader, you leader, you leader, you leader. When you're sitting down coaching that teacher, engaging what's being said in that classroom, or coaching what should be said in that classroom. This is on you. This session is about who you are in terms of being an instructional leader, but I'm not talking about who you are in terms of teaching science and teaching mathematics and teaching science, social studies and teaching language art. I'm not doing that today. That's the part you get in grad school. I'm giving you the part you don't get in grad school. See, I'm giving you some other intangibles, which one might say tangibles, that also need to be discussed in that classroom, right? So let me keep moving. Last two more. Coach me. Once again, coach me on the art of public speaking, because I need to be able to use my voice to speak to the masses. Let me say that again. Coach me. That's the student speaking now. On the art of public speaking, because I need to be able to use my voice to speak to the masses. Lewis Henderson, I'm going to read that later because it's long, so I'm going to read it when I get off, because I read all these comments. So, in other words, the youngster's saying public speaking is not just getting in front of a crowd and speaking. It's a science to that, y'all. It's an art to that. And you as instructional leader, I'm asking you, are you engaging your teacher in the conversation of going back into the classroom and introducing young people to the art of speaking to the entire classroom, whether that be in a science class, a math class, a language arts class, a social studies class, it don't matter. A PE class, a health class, a CTE class, it doesn't matter. But just getting to the point where a youngster feels comfortable in speaking to an audience. I'm more comfortable speaking to an audience than I am in interpersonal conversation, to be quite frank with you, but that's just me. Last one. Support me with finding my voice. Finding. See, all the previous four were using. Now I'm saying finding my voice, because I need to be able to walk in my purpose. I need to be able to walk in my purpose. So finding my voice, meaning voice synonymous with the word purpose. So as you have this conversation with teacher, are you talking about the structures that should be in that classroom, the mechanisms that should be in that classroom to give youngster the opportunity to facilitate the process of finding one's voice? Hey, y'all, I'm at the end. You all have seen a plethora of people in the world who have never found their voice. They're just in the world. They're just trying to get from day to day. And some of them will tell you that. How you doing? And their response will be, I'm just trying to make it. That's a response. How you doing? Oh, I'm just trying to survive. How you doing? Oh, I'm just trying to get through the end of the week. That's how people respond. You know that. But let me tell you who they are. They are people who never found their voice. I've never responded that way in my adult life. I ain't trying to get to the end of no week. I don't even know when the end of the week is. I'm just glad to wake up in the morning and live life. So it's like, I ain't trying to just make it. I ain't trying to get by. I ain't trying to hang in there. I ain't trying to get to Friday. All I'm doing is waking up, and I'm gonna build from where I left off when I went to bed, because I'm walking in my voice. In this case, I'm using that synonymous of purpose. I'm walking in my purpose. So now I'm saying to you, you going back to that teacher. Hey, teacher, what is it about your classroom where there's vehicles in place to help youngster to find their voice? Does that exist in your classroom? Let's say it doesn't. Then here comes you with the coaching. And then when you ultimately go into the classroom, you can observe what you taught, what you coached. Because ultimately, you rescue me if I'm wrong in the comments, we want all the children to ultimately find themselves. Because when you find your voice, you find yourself. And it's too many young people in schools and adults in the world who have no idea who that is in their mirror. They don't realize all the talent that's lying dormant within them, all the gifts that are in their hand, a better word, the power that's in their hand. I told you a million times, people that questioned me when I left my principalship, like, how you going to survive? But here's what they didn't know. They didn't know what I had in here. And they didn't know what I had up here. And they didn't know what I had in here, man. I built something out of nothing. It didn't exist. I built something out of nothing. I've been self-employed for 11 years, walking in my passion, speaking to audiences about the things I want to talk about. Period. Well, I'm not saying that to brag to you. I'm saying that to say, give your youngster the same opportunity. That's what I'm saying. Give your youngster the same opportunity to walk in his or her talents. But you got to put them structures in that classroom. So let me read that line one more time. Support me with finding my voice, because I need to be able to walk in my purpose. So now the youngster develops a mindset where the youngster wants to build every day. Build what? Build self. I want to build. So tomorrow I'm going to build to get here. And then the next day, here. Next day, here. Next day, here. But here's the challenge, leader. If your teacher is not thinking like that, then you got to build that teacher. Because how's a teacher going to build when a teacher can't? How's a teacher going to build the child when the teacher can't build him or herself? Or how's a teacher going to build the child when the teacher is broken? And then I might flip this on you, leader. How you going to build the teacher if you're broken? Broken people don't build other people, right? If you're broken, then you gotta build yourself, man. That's the bottom line, right? So make sure that I said I'm at the end, so let me say this to you, man. I gave y'all a lot today, man. I said a lot of stuff today. My strong recommendation: just go to YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, either of those 4 platforms, two Facebook pages, and watch this one again, y'all. Right? Watch this one again. You see all my information on the bottom of the screen. It's been scrolling for the past half hour. So watch this one again, because I don't give you notes. I can't do it on this platform. You got to come see me live. In fact, if you want to see me live, go to principalkafele.com and see my live events. My PD with districts, you can't come to those. That's the bulk of my work. But I got some public stuff still before the summer is out. So go there. And I'm closing. So let me say this. Let me wrap it up. Next week, I'm going solo again, my regular solo Saturday, first Saturday. My topic is part 2, protecting your leadership people skills. So I'll be sitting right here waiting for you. So be there with me. protecting your people, your leadership, people skills, protecting them, right? So be right here. Make sure next Saturday at 10 o'clock, Facebook Live, Sean Hurt, Create and Educate with Dr. Sheikah Houston and Principal Tammy Taylor, 10:30. Unlock the Middle with Sunday night, 7 o'clock with Josh Tovar and Dean Packard. And then Tuesday and Thursday, the Village Leadership Group with Dr. Rise Gaskins and Coach Williams, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6. Get your hands on the Equity and Social Justice Education 50, the Aspiring Principal 50, the Assistant Principal 50. Subscribe to the Virtual AP Leadership Academy YouTube channel. Like and follow the Virtual AP Leadership Academy Facebook page. I didn't write a commentary last week, man. I couldn't. I was just too out of it. I should have one tomorrow. And then your diet. Someone wrote me a nice email this morning commending me for always mentioning this, but your diet, your exercise, your COVID precautions, that's inclusive of washing your hands. Oh, my daughter, you stayed? Oh, my God. What a shock, right? So you still here. So that's including washing your hands and wearing your mask in public, particularly on those airplanes, and just doing right, man. I mean, this thing is here, and people act like it's not here. It's here. It's heavily here. It ain't like a little bit here. It's heavily here, right? So just make sure. And then lastly, let me say this again for those of you that came on late. This whole session today is dedicated to my brother-in-law, David L. Broughton. It's dedicated. I wasn't even going to do this today. I had no intentions on doing this, but my son talked me into it. So I'm here. But for those of you that came on late, this is not my hat. I don't have a Yankee hat. This is Dave's hat. I took this out of his car, and I had my son get it this morning. He probably mad at me for wearing it, right? But this is Dave's hat. I'm rocking it today. I own it, as a matter of fact. I took ownership of it. I'm putting it right on my shelf when I finish. And this is mine, so pray for my wife, please. Kimberly Broughton Kafele, you all know her. You see her on here. Pray for my wife. And she said, thank you. Pray for her father, who is David's father, Deacon Samuel Broughton. Pray for both of them. Pray for the family, but particularly pray for my wife, Kim. She had 3 brothers, and she doesn't have 3 brothers anymore. It's just her now, right? She lost all 3 of her brothers. And so it's her, and it's her father. So pray for her and her father. Again, I dedicate to my brother-in-law, only one I had surviving. He was 60. He just turned 60. And I know I said this in the beginning, but some of you weren't with me, but I'll say it to you now. I told my brother-in-law right in front of this house about 2 weeks ago, I said, man, welcome to the 60 Club, brother. I said, when you turn 60, life is different. When you turn 60, the world is yours. It's like, and I say this, I'm not being facetious. I'm really being serious here. And I'm not talking about as a speaker. Let's put the speaking part to the side. I'm saying that when you're 60, the world got to stop and listen to you, man, because you've been around for a while. You got some experience and you got some wisdom. So when you're 60, that means you've been around the block a few times. You know some things, more than these younger ones. So now when you speak, the only thing for the other people to do is shut up, close your mouth, zip it up, and listen to that person that's in their 60s because they've been here longer than you. So particularly them young ones, teenagers, think about you, think you know the world. You know more than somebody older than you. You know more than a 60-year-old. Come on. Them 20-something-year-olds, them 30-something-year-olds. Not yet. And even in leadership, since that's what this platform is, sometimes we get to a point, oh, man, yeah, I got this thing down pat. Yeah, but the 60-year-old that's been doing this for a while, we know a little something too, right? So I'm saying that to say, just keep us in your prayers. We're in that period, man, planning, the arrangements, funeral, so we're here. We're in that space. Keep us in prayer. I'll be back with you next Saturday, though. I'm looking forward to seeing you. If the funeral happens to be Saturday, then you'll get a recorded version, but I will be here next Saturday at 10:55 Eastern time. With that being said, thanks for being here. Have a great week. Have an extraordinary week. Have your best week yet. Peace. Peace. Thumbs up. Cock that fist back. Count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Bam. We keep that light today. I'll see you next week. Looking forward to it. Have a great week. Stay safe too, y'all. Stay safe, man. Make good decisions. Make good choices. I'll see you then.